homelessness. We call on the federal government to move immediately to use vacant property, for example, hotel rooms, dorms, schools, and so on, to create long-term quality housing. We are also calling on federal and state and local government to use eminent domain to claim private property to make safe, quality, affordable housing available now. We're also demanding services like sanitation sites with 24-hour restrooms and shower access, laundry, other basic necessities that people need, and funding to health providers to cover staff time and supplies like sanitizer, medicine, and masks. And lastly, we call for an end to encampment suites. They disrupt care, they rob people of their possessions, and they create further health risks.
Like people experiencing homelessness, people living in public housing are highly vulnerable to COVID-19, and that's mostly owing to mold, leaks, pests, no heat, and all of the effects of long-term disinvestment that we've seen in our nation's public housing. So to ensure the health of public housing residents, we demand HUD mandate a rent zero policy in all federally funded properties, issue a total moratorium on evictions, but not just evictions, also recertifications and notices to terminate through both the crisis period and the full recovery. Congress and HUD must also address the capital repairs backlog that actively jeopardizes the health and safety of public housing residents across the country.
Great. And lastly, our seventh demand, we need a just green transition post-pandemic. This requires extended cash transfers for at least 1 year after the state of emergency is declared over, debt forgiveness to account for ongoing financial loss. So in addition to rent, mortgages, and utilities being forgiven or zeroed out, on top of rent, that includes student loans, medical debt, credit card debt, auto payments, and so on. And lastly, we need a homes guarantee. Let's use what we've learned through this emergency to finally establish housing as a public good and a human right that everybody has access to. So those are the seven. We'll open it up to additional questions. One of the ones I saw was about using a tax to cover the cost of utilities. And I think when it comes to solutions like that, something that we spend a lot of time in my organization, ACRE, talking about is making sure that things like utilities are public goods that everybody has access to, and really focusing on who should be paying the cost of those utilities and those public goods. I think something like a tax is a great idea so long as it's focused on the people who are best positioned to absorb the cost. So there's plenty of wealth in our country. Making sure that the people like billionaires who hold lots of that wealth are able to fund the cost of those public goods is an approach that I would support.